I could probably stand up. Hey, queens, kings, and everyone else in between or outside the scene. I'm Kelly Queen Millen, aka K Millen, and today I'm going to be doing an extra video here on this channel. Even though I am taking a break, I will be doing this video for Transgender Awareness Week, especially because us trans people really need it this year. So yeah, I'm going to talk about some of the challenges I faced in school as a trans person. Also, I want to note that this all happened in 2 grades. This is my first 2 years of high school. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so the first notable thing I want to touch on in this video is the bullying. Something that, everybody can relate to. Because everybody bullies someone at one point in their life or another. It's just the way we're conditioned to interact in this world. It would be nice if we weren't conditioned like that, but we are. So yeah, the bullying for me really had to do with a lot of kind of objectification, obviously the misgendering, uh, the otherness I felt because of the things they were saying. And it really wasn't to my face all too much. It was just kind of in the background every time I would walk by somebody in the hallway. Uh, which this school is pretty packed. So every time I would walk down the hallway, there'd be multiple people saying things about me, and it was quite horrible because I could hear it all. One notable thing that I did not like at all was the fact that I constantly heard people call me an it. And that's just kind of something I personally don't like to be called. I don't feel like I'm an it. But people kept saying it. And they were like, what is it wearing? And I was just like, oh my god. It's ridiculous that people were kind of othering me like that. It's a key sign of otherness when someone uses it or that or thing instead of they, them, she, her, he, they. I said they 2 times. I know. That was silly. Anyways, you get my point. And kind of this objectification also came from the people I knew around the school, but I wouldn't call them friends. Just people I knew around the school. And they would kind of see me as this weird oddity that they could just ask me all these questions about and look at me however they wanted to. I mean, some of the questions they said were pretty fucking inappropriate. At the time, as you're first coming out, you don't really know what's appropriate, what's not, what's okay, what's not. So I just kind of went along with everything. But as I've kind of matured in my identity, I've realized, oh, those people, they were even worse than I thought. And yeah, things like that made me feel very uncomfortable. But I didn't even begin to talk about the teachers. That's something I also want to touch on here. The fact that so many people were so uneducated during the time I was coming out and all the political things going on, that had some of my teachers asking me, hey, what do you think about this certain thing? Like, I remember one of them literally talking to me about, what do you think about trans people in sports? And I was lost. I didn't know what the hell was going on. I had just figured out the word trans, just maybe a few weeks or days before that, and they were talking to me about that. I was just like, what? I had no idea there was even a issue with trans people in sports. Like, what? And just asking a kid on that is just so weird. But now I know what I know. I know it's not actually an issue. There's nothing going on there. And if I knew the knowledge I knew now, I would have easily been able to answer those questions. But that was just so confusing for me. And it put a lot of pressure on me to kind of be the one person really standing up for the trans community in that entire school building. And it felt very isolating. I don't know if I was the only trans person in the school building, but sure as hell felt like it. Another thing I really want to touch on is teachers not respecting my identity. Now, this was something that pissed me off quite a bit, and it actually made me stand up for myself in my own household because I was tired of it. And this is the dead name. Nowadays, I don't have as much of a problem with the dead naming as much as I did initially because I've kind of come to terms with my identity a bit more. I am more secure in my identity. But at the beginning, it really fucking annoyed me. And it's because everybody kept saying it over and over and over again, almost like they were doing it on purpose. They knew I didn't want to be called by that name anymore. I stated multiple times I didn't want to be called by that name anymore. And yet they kept doing it in my household and at school. Now, I tried to do something about both. The household, it worked. I made sure that everybody in my damn household called me by my actual name, which, as you know, is K or Kayla. But at school, I also tried this. I also tried to make sure everybody called me by my actual name. But to do that, they said, "Oh, we need to make sure that your parents is okay with it." Well, what? 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 That should not be a thing. Parents shouldn't have to approve of your new name. And then there were teachers asking me, "Do your parents know that you look like this when you're at school? Do your parents know you act like this?" Fuck you, Train. I'm trying to give a story. Anyways, it's just inappropriate shit that they kept fucking doing. It was so annoying. Them just not respecting my identity. I had like maybe one teacher respect my identity. The others were like absolute assholes. And I wish I could just go back, like I said earlier in this video, with the knowledge I have now and just kind of make my life a bit easier, because I would have been able to do way more with the knowledge I know now. Because when you first come out as a trans person in this current day world, it is very stress inducing. Like I've stated in other videos, I did not have anxiety until I came out as trans. I've always had depression and surrounding conditions of that, but not anxiety. But almost as soon as I came out as trans, I did have anxiety. And sure, a lot of it was because of my physical looks. I looked quite different than what, is like socially acceptable. But yeah, a lot of it was my looks. But also a good portion of it came from how people treated me, not necessarily even because of my looks, but just because of who I was. It was really hard coming out as trans. I would say that. It was really hard, and despite what anybody says in the media, nobody would become trans if they weren't truly trans. And I used the word become there, which is kind of a little messy. I should have said nobody would identify as trans or realize they were trans. But yes, it's really difficult, it's really hard, but I pushed through, and now here I am. So yeah, that's a brief summary of my experience as a trans kid in school. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and hopefully I've educated some people on a bit of the trans experience, because that really is a big part of my goal here with this channel. And so yeah, hopefully you all have an amazing and lovely day, and goodbye.